Hey, what's up, YouTube? Doing an unplanned video here. I just, I've been doing these Johnny Lightning wheel and tire swaps, and I've done some good ones, but this one might take the cake. I don't know. Well, let's see what you guys think. Also wanted to address a comment. Thank you, everybody, for all the support. I know probably most people agree with me, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are very anti scalping. A lot of guys with some really big diecast channels that are against it, and that's fine. I mean, if you're against it, you're against it. It's just like any other opinion someone might have. Everybody's gonna have different opinions, and I'm fine with that. I respect that, but it's not gonna stop me. And I'm not going to belittle you for your opinion. I'm not going to tell you that the world would be better off without you because your opinion is different than mine. So, if you are one of those people that think that scalpers ruin the hobby or make it hard for the less fortunate or wah 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 blah blah blah, then we are just going to have to agree to disagree. The thing about this hobby is that it is equal opportunity for everybody. Everybody has the same starting point. It's scalpers that do really well, which I'm not one of them. I do scalp, but I'm not a successful scalper. I don't make money off of it. But if I find 1583 Silverados that I know are going to be desirable, that I know I could use, I could spend that $15 and improve my collection by probably a factor of 3, I'm going to buy those. That's the kind of stuff I do. Anything I see in the wild that I know I can at least double or triple my money on, I will buy it, I will trade it, and sell it. And I think a lot of people that cry about scalping do the same thing. But we all have the same starting point, okay? Walmart, Target, Kroger, all these stores, they put the Hot Wheels on the pegs. Everybody has the same opportunity to get to that store and get to those pegs before the next guy. So you're just crying because because you lost. Somebody beat you to them. And that is just bush league. It's just bush league. I mean, seriously, move on. I've gotten to the point where if something is coming out that I know is going to be scalped, I might give myself a certain time period to find it, and if I don't, I will just go and buy it on the secondary market because it's not worth the headache. But I certainly don't cry about it and belittle other people for doing it and tell them that the world would be better off without them. And so, James Shives, your comment about having a conversation about it, telling people to fuck off, there's no conversation to be had. When you make a comment like that to someone, there's no conversation to be had. I'll have a discussion about it with anybody that wants to, because when I started collecting, I thought scalpers were pretty despicable, but then I realized it was just me. It was just me being a lazy little bitch. And then I said, you know what? Instead of crying about it, I'm going to beat these scalpers to the pegs. Fuck them. All this stuff that they're going and making money on. And it was, I got to tell you, at that time, I was scalping a lot. I had a buyer overseas in Hong Kong. And I would load up a box with a couple hundred cars. And it would cost $120 to ship it. And he would send me the PayPal, and on I would go. And I would double or triple my money on the stuff, and I would take that money and I would put it into my collection. So I did it actively. I mean, I was putting in 30 hours a week scalping, just hunting for diecast. And it was gratifying to get to the pegs and find 3 or 4 supers and then have the scalper come up. I would make sure that they saw me, that they saw the cars, Oh yeah, yeah. Here they. I got them, bud. Don't worry about it. You're just wasting your time. It's gratifying, and it's happened to me, and my hat's off to them. I certainly didn't cry like a little bitch. Let alone go commenting on people's YouTube channel. So, if you want to have a conversation about it, I'll have a conversation about it. But when you tell me that the world will be better off without me, I'm not interested at that point. Conversation's over. So that's where I'm at with it. If you don't like it, I respect that. I won't say anything to disrespect you. I won't do anything to disrespect you. Scalping is not disrespecting other people. And if you think it is, you are an entitled, delusional individual. That's how the hobby is. It's how it's always been. You, what's worse than scalping is the employees that cherry pick the chase cars, pull them out of the case, put them away till they get off their shift, and then go get them. That's worse than scalping, but it is what it is. It's not gonna change. So if you've spent as much energy stepping your game up a little bit as you do bitching about the people that beat you to the pegs, you'd probably end up finding a lot more stuff. You got to channel your frustration. And when you're commenting on people's YouTube channel, you're channeling that energy in the wrong place. Because while you're sitting there bumping your gums, running your cock washer, the scalper's out there loading up a cart, tripling, quadrupling his money. So, anyways, that's the last I'm going to talk about that for now until some more snowflakes comment about how emotionally distraught they are that scalpers exist and ruin the hobby. And then I might address it again, but it's going to be a short-lived thing on the channel because this channel is just about showing diecast, sharing diecast, showing you guys what's out there, showing you guys what I like to collect and how I like to collect. And if it hurts somebody's feelings, I don't care. I really just don't care. Anyways, so here's a pretty interesting little car. You'll probably never see it again. Maybe you will. I don't know. I don't think you will. I've looked for it, and I have no idea what it is or what it's from. But I have checked eBay. I've checked Toy Peddler. I have not been able to figure or get any information on this. It's pretty sick, though. Lens headlights, taillights, clear taillights. Rubber tires, prototypical wheels. If you're wondering what kind of car it is, it is a Daihatsu Tanto. Daihatsu Tanto. I don't know. It's a unique little car, but it's a nice looking diecast piece. Really nice detail. Display's nice. All right, so let's get to the reason I'm posting this video. So lately, I've been doing Johnny Lightning wheel and tire swaps. And I think a lot of them have come out really nice. I've done some of the new Land Cruisers. I did a 81 Chevy Malibu that looks awesome. But whenever you do that, the car you're taking the wheels from is basically a sacrificial casting, and that's what we have here. Now, I love this casting because it's a 73 GTO, and as far as I know, no one else in diecast does a 73 GTO in this scale, or any scale for that matter. I'm sure there are probably some 1 to 18, but it's not a common car that you see. Mid-late 70s muscle cars, they're not all that common. So needless to say, it doesn't look nearly as good with these wheels. but it still looks okay. But the car that the wheels went onto looks, I think, pretty unbelievable. Um, it actually looks awesome. It looks like it was meant to be. So let's take a look at it. I don't know if you guys can guess what car these wheels are from. It's an old Tomy era Johnny Lightning. It's a 1995 Chevy. I don't know how many 95 Chevys Johnny Lightning put out, but there you go. Now it is billed as the Caprice, but it's the same tooling as the Impala. So it doesn't have all the Impala badging, which Johnny Lightning is good at doing. I just think that looks killer. That is as good as any of the wheel and tire swaps I've done on the Johnnies. The only thing about it that I'm not sure is the tires. You know, the car is a 95. The tires came off a 73. And I think the Kelly Chargers might not be period correct for the 95. But I might be able to hunt down a pair of BF Goodrich or something. Some radials. Even if they aren't, it's not a big deal to me. I still think it looks really good. I don't know. I just think it came out nice. The casting or the tooling itself, being a Johnny, it is a little small for scale. And I have three other releases of this tooling. One of which is out in the display case. That one is an Impala SS. It doesn't have rubber tires on it, but not very many of the Impalas did. This tooling has a lot of stuff about it going on, though. Like, you can see those little lumps there in the rear, underneath the rear window, the rear, whatever that's called. I don't know what that's called. But anyways, those are for the police car, which basically is what this was. This was basically like an unmarked detective car with these wheels. And it looked good. It looked pretty good. I don't think it looked nearly as good. But in the police cars, those are basically lights. So I'll show you here with this JLPD police car, which is kind of Johnny Lightning's take on the NYPD. Same tooling. Obviously, it's totally different deco. This one has a light bar on top. But here in the back window, you can see how those are either painted or tampoed. Kind of crazy that they put that kind of detail in the interior. But Johnny Lightning was the first like detailed brand. So this car has a lot more detail than the Chevy or than the civilian model. You can see here you have more detail on the grille with tampoed headlights and indicators. Now, this one has tampoed headlights and indicators too, but it doesn't have the amber indicators. Light is awful. So you can see how the police car has the tampoed turn signal, whereas the civilian model just has the silver. But that kind of detail is easy to add, but I won't be doing that. And the back end detail is kind of the same. Much more detail on the police car with all the chrome trim around the taillights, the reverse lights. So, but this is I think it's a plain Mantis there. Yeah, plain Mantis, 99. And then this one's a Tomy era, and everybody knows that under Tomy, they were cutting a lot of cost. Tomy had no interest in the Johnny Lightning brand. So they just that's basically why they ran the brand into oblivion, because they weren't interested in, they wanted the baby toys and that baby bath that was out, and the Thomas the Train. That was what they were. That was why they made that purchase. The Johnny Lightning portion of that deal was just something they didn't want anything to do with, because they were already doing diecast overseas and making a lot of money on that, and it just wasn't feasible for them to do the Johnny Lightning. So it is cool that round two came around and picked up the licensing and has done what I think is a really good job of continuing the legacy of Johnny Lightning. I think the first couple releases were pretty awful, but I think they've kind of adjusted to the market and what collectors want, and I think they've done a good job responding to that with the castings that they put out the last 12 months or so. There are some filler castings, but this casting here has been out. The F-150 has been out, the Gremlin, the Land Cruisers, the International Scouts, the Blazer. So they've been putting a lot of the desirable toolings out. And there are still a few that they're missing, but I'm sure we'll see them soon enough. But anyway, so that's a wheel swap that I did that I think looks really good. I will take some pictures of that for Instagram. And then the only other two I wanted to show, here's the one of the other. This one is also playing Mantis. This one here could use a wheel swap as well. So the nice thing about Johnny Lightning rubber tires, not all of them, but the vast majority of them are 3-piece wheel and tire. Now what that means is when you take the tire off of the car, the rim stays in the tire, and then you basically have this part, which should be like the back part of the rim, that is attached to the axle. And then when you put the tire on, the tire holds it to this. So you can change them out without drilling the car and basically compromising the structural integrity of the car. This is the only brand that I know of that does 3-piece wheel and tire. Greenlight does not. Auto World does not. M2 does not. They are all 2-piece wheel and tire. And with 2-piece wheel and tire, it is a different ball game altogether, doing wheel and tire swaps. Tire swaps, not so much, but wheel swaps, it's totally different. Not like Hot Wheels. You don't necessarily need to drill those cars to do wheel swaps, but it is a little bit more risky doing them. So it's just the yellow cab. And this, being a Playing Mantis era car, also has more detail than the Tomy. But the thing I like about the Tomy is just the fact that it's a civilian model. It doesn't have the police deco. It doesn't have the taxi deco. It is kind of cool to have all three, you know, an example of each. But, and then the last one I wanted to show. These are, so I had like around 300 Johnny Lightning cars, and when I sold my collection, I kept about 35 of them, maybe 40. And so these are just some of the toolings that I kept. This one here, basically another Johnny Lightning take on an NYPD tow truck. This was also out in with reverse colors that were inverted to what this is. So where this is white, that one's blue. Where that one's blue, or where this one is blue, that one is white. And where this one is white, that one is blue. That one I think is a little bit easier to find. This one I don't seem to see quite as often. This is an awesome tooling. The Ford F350 or F450 Super Duty, the Power Stroke Diesel, or at least I think it is. really detailed with the levers and the diamond plate. Got the light bar. A little bit of articulation on the assembly, but not much. It's definitely not made to go up and down into tow cars. It does have a dually metal base. This is also a Playing Mantis era. I think this was a classic gold release, as was the taxi. And the police car might have been a classic gold also. I don't remember. But the only, not the only, but the most unfortunate thing about this is such a nice tooling, and there isn't anything else like this in this scale, or in 1 to 64, I should say, because this is probably closer to 1 to 72, maybe even a little smaller than that. But there are talks that Greenlight is going to put a Chevy or a Ford dually, or maybe I don't know, 3/4 ton trucks. I don't know exactly. I read something about it, but hopefully when they do it, they do a tooling like this. They had something similar to this with the what was it, a Durastar? Those, I think it was like Series 1 HD. It was before all the international flatbeds started coming out. But that was not, that was more of a, I don't know. It was a bigger truck. And it wasn't a Ford. So hopefully they do it. I would like to see it. I'd love to see a Ford 3/4 ton dually from Greenlight. They make the best full-size pickups in the game. No one else is even close with the full-size pickups. Wow, I was not planning on 22 minutes on this, but I do have this one here, which I have shown. This is a Racing Champions, and that's a Ford. Is that a 350? Can't even read it on the camera. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Yeah, so this one is a 350. At least I think that's what I'm reading. But this is obviously a totally different tooling altogether. It's just an extended cab, but it is a dually. And this is a Racing Champions tooling. But if Johnny Lightning were to put a Ford F350 dually out, this is pretty much exactly what I would expect it to look like. Look how goofy that base looks. Pretty sick truck though. Another one that's pretty tough to find. It doesn't show up too often. You will find this one a lot with John Deere livery, but the black one here is pretty tough. And then here's basically the other Johnny Lightnings that I ended up keeping. I just decided to put my focus on Greenlight, and I'm going to start getting back into the import stuff. That stuff is kind of hard to collect because it's very expensive, but it's gratifying to collect. There's another tooling that we'll probably see soon from round 2. Hopefully we see that with some retooled prototypical wheels. I'd like to see the Duster again too. I'd like to see Greenlight do that car. There's a Ford Crown Vic taxi. Little T-Bird. And then over here's like Racing Champ stuff. Well, here's a couple more Johnnies. Miho exclusive. I did wheel swap that. Miho exclusive and Miho exclusive. I wheel swap that one as well. And then these are all racing champs here. And then a couple of Revell lowriders. Hot Wheels lowrider. I don't have much for M2, but and I'm pretty critical of M2, but the M2 cars that I do have are, in my opinion, some of the best castings they've put out. Like that Torino is sick. I love it. That's dope. And I really like the old Chevys, the 54 and 55, the 58. Although I wish that was another color, but. And then this is just green light stuff that I need to put away. So yeah, that's it. As far as the scalping goes, sorry, I'm pointing the camera up because I don't want to show my house. I don't scalp a whole bunch, but just certain castings that anytime I see one, I'll pick it up. These are the ones that got everybody up in a pickle. I only found 15 of them. It's not like I'm one of those guys that hits every Walmart. Just one time found 15. But if I find 15 again, I'll buy those too. I did the same thing with the camo. Done it with the Datsuns from Matchbox, the Skylines. Yeah, it just is what it is. The fact that people are offended by it kind of motivates me to do more of it. But anyways, Johnny Lightning wheel swap out.